Hi, my name is Curtis Whitson, and we're going to talk now about Pipet resources. A Pipet resource is one of the four fundamental elements of a Pipet project. It's a light blue rectangle represented on the canvas with a name or title. Shown here are two resources. This is a snippet from the previous Pipet Elements basic video showing the running of a compositional reservoir simulator. In this case, it's sensor, and the input file and its output results. If we look at the resource in some detail in this video, we'll see that it actually is a representation of any file that's located on the computer the Pipet project is being launched from, or any other computer it has access to. The name of the resource itself is really irrelevant, and it may or may not have the actual file name associated with it. If you go into the item properties of a resource, you'll see that the name is given here. This is the text, the internal nickname that Pipet uses for the resource, but the actual file that it's operating on is the model. And if you're interested in changing the layout of the resource, one in particular or all of them, you can change the size and colors and shapes. You can also superimpose images onto the resource element. The way this project is set up now, we've disabled the process itself, which is linking these two input and output resources. We'll re-enable that here, and that's to illustrate one of the important features of Pipet, that when an application is going to be launched within a project, it decides whether or not to launch that process based on whether the upstream elements, for example here the resource, has been changed since the last time the application was launched. If that upstream resource has not changed, then the application does not need to be run again. So let's run the project now, and we'll see that it's running the project for the first time. It takes about 5 seconds to run the simulation. Now if we try to run the project one more time, nothing's changed on the input file, and it just basically identifies that all of these are located and nothing is actually launched from the process. If we go into the file itself and we edit it in F4, the editor, making just the smallest of change, save the file, and relaunch the project, we'll see that it has to rerun the application again. Now, if we try to rerun it one more time, we'll see that it doesn't need to relaunch it because nothing's changed. A simpler way than actually changing the upstream file to force the process to be launched is to set the modified status on the resource. Now it actually believes that this file has been changed, so that when we relaunch the Pipet project, it does relaunch the application sensor. It's possible to bring any file links into Pipet through drag and drop actions of files that are local to the directory where the Pipet project is being run from. Here we'll bring in an Excel file located in this subdirectory. And this Excel file takes on the name by default of the file itself, but there's no reason that it has to have that name. We can rename it as the ARCO SP3 EOS model. You can note in parentheses that it's an Excel file. And the project runs equally well with this name or the file name being used to describe the resource itself. We can open the file itself, launch the file by double-clicking on it or launching it, because Excel files are associated with the Excel program. So a double click will actually just launch the application manually. This is the equation of state. We can also access the information in the Excel sheet through the Pipet links interface. There'll be a separate video about Pipet links, and it basically gives you access to all of the information in the files. That information is then brought into the Pipet project and can be used in connection with optimization and other applications. A quite common mistake that's made is the renaming or relocation of files associated with resources. And if this is done, then it often leads to a flag in Pipet that it can't find the file that was originally associated with the resource. So let's go into the directory and find the file here, and let's just rename the file. Take away the 2. Come back. We'll launch the project, and you'll see that we get a flag here. It basically has lost track of where that file is because the file has changed names. Now we can rectify that by going into the set resource file, going in, looking for and finding what the file name should be, and then we can rerun the project and that flag should disappear. Likewise, moving the file to another location will also break the connection. So if we take the Excel file and cut and paste that into the main directory here, for example, go back in, rerun the project, it flags it because it's lost track of the file. So we have to go back in, set the resource file, we go up, find the file, now check to make sure that the link's been made, and we're set. Now, which files can be brought in as a resource into Pipet? Literally any file that you have access to from your computer that's running Pipet. So let's now illustrate that by bringing in a file on another disk. It can be on another computer. What we do here, we bring in the resource element, we right click, we go set the resource file, and we go off looking in the computer network that we have access to, find some interesting file that we want to bring in connection with the SP3, for example. We've got this file, okay, and it takes on that name, production forecasting. Of course, it's located off in some area. Once we have that, we can take a look at the properties and see that now the name is the same as the file name, and the location is given here, and we can go browse around into that location on another disk. We can rename this as something different, get rid of the XLS. Just give it a new name. But from Pipet's point of view, it's still linked to the same file, and the internal nickname being used by Pipet is the same. Is here different, but the model file itself is the same. We can also launch or edit or access through links those files, even though they're far removed from our local hard disk. So we've now looked at the main aspects of the Pipet resource element. It's a bluish rectangle that references any file on your computer or computer system. It has a name that's an internal Pipet nickname for the file. You can do any kind of editing, launching, or modifying manually. You're able to disable it and enable it as with all other elements in Pipet. You can change the modify status so that it thinks that a resource has been modified. You can do local drag and drop from files on the directory where the Pipet project or below that directory. We can launch resources or files that have an association with an application, for example, Excel. And we can create and name and identify links to any file on accessible disks. I appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoy using Pipet. Thank you for now.